Okay, I wanted to do a video about negativity. Um, I made a video about this character, and it's an RF, and it's busted. And I got advice on that video, and that led to a video reply to that guy because he gave me all kinds of advice, and it was good. But it was also unsolicited. I wasn't asking for help. I was essentially complaining about the fact that GGG and Poe are incredibly picky. And let's see. I think I just want to mess with this one a bit while I talk. It's wildly complicated. The game is wildly complicated. People are wildly complicated. And there's a thing that comes up. There's a thing that comes up, and I want to respond to it. Sorry for the distraction. It is hard for me to talk about stuff and game at the same time. Cramming in some. I wonder. Does that count? Did I put it on cast from damage taken? I did. That's so weird. Have the mana to cast anything if I do it that way. So yeah, I got accused of needless negativity basically, and one thing I want to say is that that is not organic. Like that is not something that people come up with came up with on their own in this community. That's completely from forum policy, where GGG will routinely delete anything even remotely critical of their policy plans, anything about them as needlessly negative. That's their catchphrase for it. And I want to make a video talking about the distinction between negativity and negative. Like, because there's an important difference. Basically, the implied accusation when you're called negative in that way, when you're being needlessly negative, is that you're being unfair. Like you're making opposition for some kind of disingenuous reason. Like it's not a legitimate complaint. And this really is kind of a symptom of our era in the West. Like we have a lot of that going on. We have a lot of censorship and things that are presented as protective and helpful that truly aren't. Like when a big pharma company calls something misinformation, and what they really mean is inconvenient or unflattering. And while I understand the corporate need to respond to stuff like that, I mean, I get where GGG's coming from. They're protecting their money. But to me, that's still not good enough. Like, there's more to it than that. And apologize if I can't really get to the point here. It's kind of a new thing to me. I haven't really nailed it down, and I don't know how to present it concisely. Like, there's a lot of moving parts to this. Excuse me. And I guess it upsets me because I don't know what needlessly negative means in a context for me. Like, I get what they think to an extent, but I guess I don't completely. Like, what do they think I'm doing? They don't think at all. They're just parroting. That's a big factor too. It's just conditioned scolding. It's like, you said something bad about GGG. I'm not used to that. I don't like that. So you're being needlessly negative. And I definitely stand out, but I stand out as a result of censorship and as a result of algorithm, you know, and of course the survivor fallacy. Like, I'm only here to complain because I'm still playing. And these people would like nothing more than to simply drive me out so that all that they ever hear is sunshine and rainbows. And to me, that's less legitimate than any kind of anger-based or scrubby reason I might have for complain about the game. Like it's just way more fake, and yet it's more respected in the game context. And I guess that's a big part of why I am so upset by it, because it's ironic. It's fundamentally unjust, and talking about it is helping me understand it. Like I'm researching something when I speak about it too. But it's not something I feel like I can fix. I'm saying this, and it's like I'm making an argument, but I'm not trying to win any kind of argument. I'm not trying to win anybody over and somehow eliminate the phenomenon of people crying negativity. On behalf of a billion-dollar corporation and all the annoying aspects of that. It's like, it's not like I'm going to make the world fair with this video. The main takeaway for me is, one, having something I can potentially share and refining my thought on the matter, and also learning how to deal with it in some kind of direct personal way. And the main thing I've learned, because I do have some tools, like I have I can unlist a video and it starts to get too much hassle attached to it, so that at least the algorithm will learn, stop promoting this. I mean, if you want to continue having me as a content creator, don't run me off. Also, it'll help me, you know, learn how to deal with the people themselves and how to deal with that class of comment. And but there is going to be a chilling effect, and that is kind of a shame. Like, I won't feel as free to speak, but that's kind of unavoidable. I mean, speech really isn't free. Anytime you say something in the presence of somebody else, you're taking a risk. you're sharing information which potentially puts you at a disadvantage. You know, speech is costly. I don't want to play with delirium in here. Well, it's a currency one though. But what do I care? You know, I'm thinking in terms of like as if this was a league starter, and it's totally not. So. But yeah, the main point I have about Path of Exile and in any kind of negative context is the deception casino angle of it. I mean, there is not build freedom. The complicated tree does not represent some smorgasbord of options that you can just slam together and make any kind of cool build that you can envision. It's like, honestly, the limit for any build to work is like Act 2. Like, I can make builds that will not survive Act 2. And that really, in and of itself, completely destroys the idea of build freedom. Like, it's very much like there's a tutorial. You know, the first 2 acts are a tutorial to show you how the testing mechanism works, and then it's a test. It's like your builds are either right or wrong, and as you progress deeper into the game, they have to be more right. And the more wrong they are, the less they work. And that's essentially what everyone was saying when they were complaining about my RF build. They were saying, well, your build is wrong, and then blaming me for it. And those are 2 separate things. Like, yeah, I get it. My build sucked. I was aware of that. You know, I didn't need you to tell me that. But they don't know that. They think all complaint boils down to, you know, I literally don't know how to fix this, but that's not what I was saying. I do know how to fix it, but that build wasn't an RF. I wasn't following a guide. Like, what I'm supposed to do is slavishly obey. I'm supposed to obey a streamer. I'm supposed to obey the rules. I'm supposed to be quiet about all of it. And, you know, any kind of constellation in the build I make to be quality of life, more fun for me, well, that's on me, and I should be punished for it. And that's a really sick psychology. And I think gaming generally, in a corporate environment like this, under capitalism, totally engenders that kind of sickness. Like, they really want open wallet, brain dead people. They want whales. They want obedient and lucrative consumers. They definitely don't want anybody complaining. I mean, the ideal situation is basically a landed gentry kind of thing where they're just getting paid for being who they are. Like, that's the ultimate capitalist goal, is to get paid for nothing. Just get paid because you're who you are, and you're getting paid for getting paid. I mean, it's in the name, landlord. They want to be, I mean, that's the most purest form of capitalist exploitation is charging rent. It's like, yeah, you're consuming oxygen. You need somewhere to live, so I need money from you. And it's just scalping homes and land, and that kind of mentality is all over gaming. Like, you could absolutely argue that a lot of gaming and entrepreneurship in that context is basically about scalping an IP, rent on an IP. Like, they've copyrighted all this, so I'm not allowed to take the source code. I'm not allowed to improve it. I'm not allowed to make changes. I'm not allowed to present an alternative leadership, or, you know, it's like I'm not allowed to mod it. It's all about that landlord mentality, that scalping mentality, that controlling mentality, or royalism. And that's another reason it upsets me. It's because it leads into all kinds of other toxic things, you know. And it's really hard to be concise about it. I'm sure I've already been speaking for half an hour and I've rambled and not get to the point, and maybe I can do something more efficient later with this, you know, take the transcript and run it through some AI and improve the situation some. But yeah, it's all those topics, and I'm glad I made the video because I needed to get it straight in my head. But this is kind of the point. Like it's like I'm surviving, right? What I'm doing right now, it sort of works, but obviously it's bad. I'm playing the wrong answer. I didn't do the right thing with this build, so I'm not really free to play this, am I? You know, I have to do all these things. I have to check all these boxes and follow all this formatting and just do it as GGG wants me to do, or I die, right? I don't progress. I'm stuck in this area. Like I can't really just throw myself at this over and over and over and expect to win. And I should be allowed to. What do they care? What do you care? Let people play how they want. Let anything work. I think they need to sell an item at the beginning of every act that's basically just a jewel that assures that you will get through the act. I don't care if you're fucking naked. You know, it's like it comes in any form you want. Like it's a spell that kills enemies, or it's a minion that follows you around, or it's an aura. You know, just let it come in whatever shape people want so that they can win and be happy. Because it doesn't need to be a job. It doesn't need to be this achievement. It doesn't need to be difficult unless people want it to be. And this boils down to also, you know, the thing I've written many times before about tryhards and how you need to cater to casuals first and foremost for a whole variety of reasons. And I don't want to relitigate that, and I'll just link to my essay on the topic in the description if I remember, if I care. But yeah, just search for tryhard, and DevKnight is one word, DEVKNIGHT. You know, you'll find me. Underlore Inneman. I'm not hard to find. And it's like that. It's this cult mentality where everything has to be hard and fun is somehow lazy. You know, like a work ethic in gaming. That's the most insane thing to me ever. I think the work ethic is sickening anyway. That's totally like, you know, royalism to me. That's like praise be to the king kind of thinking. And it's like, yuck. Looks like I killed all the trash mobs. Nothing left but these crazy rares and the boss that I can't kill. So, see what I'm saying? It's like there are limits. And it's like the tryhards will be like, oh, but you're doing it wrong. And it's like, no, I'm not doing it wrong. I'm doing it the way I want. And this game is supposed to serve me. They're the original value proposition for games is we provide a pleasant experience, you provide us with fee. And I feel like I watched it die. Like I remember when EverQuest was the first to attempt to, you know, monthly charge. And I was like, oh, this is the end. You know, and then it was like software as a service. Saw it in the application. Now you can't even buy a copy of Photoshop. You have to fucking rent it. You know? So that's what I'm saying. It's like this topic goes absolutely everywhere. I kind of get brain lock and it spirals out of control. It goes into society and politics and economy and ethics, and it's just a huge mess. And I wanted to address it, and I think I have. I'll probably do a more concise video on it later, but yeah. Needless negativity is a bunch of shit, and the tryhards are objectively wrong. Like, I'll at least make my core argument. There's a thing in NetHack called conducts, where you impose a limit on yourself, and you do this to increase challenge. A sandbox doesn't impose rules on you. You impose rules on the sandbox. And if just creating stuff isn't fun for you, make a game out of it. The computer can help you with that, in that it can help you track your rules or hold you to your rules. So we definitely need like a try hard tab, and you can set it to be as, sadistic and picky and private servery as you like. But the default needs to be completely open for a couple of reasons. Conducts let tryhards get whatever they want without infringing on anybody else. And casuals sometimes have to be casual for real life reasons that are moral, essentially, or unavoidable, like accessibility. I don't like the implication that people who are disabled are inherently casuals. It's like, that's frankly Nazi to me. It's like saying you're weak, so you don't deserve this. Survival of the fittest. Be Aryan. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's just gross to me, and I don't like it. And so I think that every game needs to be open. It needs to have a menu. It needs to have auto target. It needs to have sliders. Let people share and play how they want. But GGG, oh boy, they are all about catering to the tryhards, probably because the tryhards are the ones with the most money. I mean, that just makes sense. Type A's and greed and theft. If you care about money enough to steal it, you're probably going to end up with more than the other guy. So yeah, it's a mess. It's a rat's nest, and people need to just be allowed to play how they want. And all this talk about build freedom, oh, it's such a myth. This game is all about the try hard. There isn't a softcore mode. Like, every mode punishes you when you die. Every mode has all these limits, must be level this to use that. It's just an endless parade of caveats and checklists and punishments, and for not doing it just right at top speed, and fleecing people. And it's inherently negative. And me commenting on it, being honest about it, isn't needlessly negative. It's like, quit complaining about the journalism and complain about the topic, because it's a form of ad hom. You're basically telling me to sit down and shut up when it's the world that sucks, and you're mad at me for telling you about it. So yeah, fuck all that. So yeah, I'm gonna upload it now. Thanks for watching.